My fiancée texted, "I gave the venue our new guest list. I uninvited 40 of your friends to make room for my yoga class." Without telling me, I replied, "Interesting choice." Then I called the venue, canceled everything, and got him my deposit back. When she arrived for the final menu tasting, I'm 34 male, civil engineer, and I want to preface this by saying I am not someone who blows things up dramatically. I fix problems. I calculate load-bearing tolerances for a living. I am, by nature, the guy who finds the most structurally sound solution and executes it quietly. So when I tell you that I canceled my own wedding without telling my fiancée and let her show up to a venue that no longer had us in system, understand that this was not an impulsive decision. This was load-bearing math. My fiancée and I had been together 4 years, engaged for 8 months. Wedding was 3 months out. We had agreed, after about 2 months of back and forth, on 120 guests total. That was the number the venue held comfortably. That was the number the catering package was built around. And that was the number we had both verbally confirmed and signed off on. My side of the list had 68 people. Her side had 52. She had agreed to that split herself. Said it made sense because my family is bigger and more spread out geographically. I had put down deposits across 4 vendors. The venue deposit was $4,200 on my credit card. Caterer was $2,800, also on my card. Photographer was $1,500, my card. Florist was $900, split. Total out of pocket for me at that point was roughly $9,400 across everything. Her financial contribution to the wedding up to that point was approximately $800 toward the florist and some decor she'd bought herself. I'm not saying that to be petty. I'm saying it because it becomes relevant. So, 6 weeks after we finalized the guest list, I'm standing on a job site doing a concrete inspection when my phone buzzes. I figure it's my site foreman. I look down. It's my fiancée. "Hey, good news. I gave the venue our updated guest list this morning. I trimmed your side down a bit to make room for some of my girls from yoga. The new list is so much better, more intimate, you know? Can't wait for the menu tasting Thursday." I read it 3 times. She had called the venue coordinator, a woman we had both met with twice and who knew both of our names, and submitted a revised guest list under both our names, without calling me, without texting me first, without a single conversation. She had just done it and then texted me about it like she was telling me she'd picked up dry cleaning. I typed back 2 words. Interesting choice. Then I called the venue. Our coordinator picked up on the second ring. I asked her to confirm what changes had been submitted that morning. She read them back to me. 41 names removed from my side of the guest list. 14 new names added, all from my fiancée's yoga studio, including her yoga instructor, a woman I had met exactly one time at a studio open house. Among the 41 removed, 2 of my groomsmen, 3 cousins who had already booked flights from out of state, my college roommate of 4 years, guys I've known since middle school, gone, to make room for a yoga class. I asked the coordinator one question. "What is the cancellation policy if I cancel within 90 days? She paused. For cancellations between 90 and 61 days, the primary cardholder retains 60% of the deposit. Within 60 days, the deposit is forfeited entirely. We were at 91 days out. "Please process a cancellation today," I said. Another pause. Would you like some time to... "Today, please," I said. She processed it. $2,520 back to my card by end of business. I then called the caterer. Similar clause, 90-day window. Recovered 50% of that deposit. Photographer was fully refundable at 90 days, no issue. Florist, I lost $300 because their cutoff was different. All told, I recovered roughly $6,800 out of the $9,400 I'd put in. Then I went back to my concrete inspection, finished the site, drove home, made dinner. I did not tell her. She called twice that evening. I let both go to voicemail. Texted once, "You okay? You've been quiet." I texted back, "Long day at work. See you Thursday." Thursday was a final menu tasting at the venue, an appointment she had made at a venue that no longer had us in their system. Wednesday night. She sent me a photo of the outfit she was planning to wear to the tasting. 3 little heart emojis. I sent back a thumbs up. Thursday at 2:07 p.m., my phone lit up. Babe, they're saying we don't have a reservation? The coordinator is being really rude. Can you call them? I was sitting in a diner 2 blocks away drinking coffee. I had taken a half day. I canceled it. 40 seconds of nothing. Then my phone rang. What do you mean you canceled it? Not a question. Her voice had this particular flatness I had learned over 4 years meant she was deciding how hard to come at something. I canceled the venue, the caterer, the photographer. I lost $300 on the floor's deposit. That one had a different cutoff date. You canceled our wedding. You canceled 41 people from my guest list without telling me. I said, including 2 of my groomsmen and 3 cousins who already have flights booked. So, yes, I canceled the venue. That is not the same thing. You're right, I said. What you did was worse. You called a venue and submitted changes under both our names without my knowledge. That's not a miscommunication. That's deception. She hung up. She called back 4 minutes later. The flatness was gone, and something harder was there instead. I made those changes because your side of the list was bloated. You had people on there I've never even met. I'm trying to make our wedding feel personal, not like a company barbecue. Those are my friends. They're acquaintances. 2 of them are my groomsmen. Silence. I was going to talk to you about the groomsmen after you'd already submitted the list. More silence. Then quieter. I didn't think you'd react like this. I didn't react, I said. I responded. There's a difference. She asked to meet. I agreed. We met at a coffee shop near her apartment. What happened over the next 2 hours was the most clarifying conversation I've had in 4 years. Not because we screamed, we didn't. Not because she apologized, she didn't. Not really, but because of what she said when she stopped defending the decision and started explaining her thinking. I just thought, she said, stirring her drink without looking at me, that once it was done, you'd adjust. You always adjust. I let that sit for a second. You always adjust. For years of me quietly conceding on vacation destinations, on furniture, on holiday plans, on whose friends we saw more often, I had thought I was being flexible, being a good partner. She had apparently been cataloging it as a pattern she could rely on. You always adjust, I repeated back. I didn't mean it like that. I think you meant exactly like that. She pivoted, started talking about how stressed she'd been, how her mother had been saying the wedding felt lopsided toward my side, how her yoga instructor was like family to her. Each sentence was a new justification stacked on top of the last one. Then she said the thing that closed the door for me. I think we should just reschedule and start the planning over with a more balanced approach. Balanced. After she had unilaterally removed 41 people from my side, without a word, she wanted to restart with balance. Who handles the new deposits? I asked. She looked up. I recovered most of what I'd put in. If we're starting over with a balanced approach, I think the deposits should come from your account this time. Her jaw tightened. You're being punitive. You used the word balanced, I said. I'm asking what that looks like financially. She had no answer. Here is where it stopped being a relationship conflict and started becoming something else entirely. She called her mother that night. Her mother called me the next morning. No greeting, just launched straight in. I think you're being incredibly immature. Canceling a wedding over a guest list is a massive overreaction, and it tells me a lot about your emotional maturity. She submitted changes to our venue contract under both our names without my knowledge. I said she was improving the wedding. She removed my groomsmen. You can choose different groomsmen. I ended the call. An hour later, I got a text from my fiancée. My mom said you hung up on her. Real mature. Then another one that afternoon. I talked to the venue coordinator. She said you were aggressive on the phone when you canceled. That one I responded to. I have the call log. The call was 6 minutes long. You're welcome to request a recording. She didn't respond to that. What she did instead was contact 2 of our mutual friends, a couple we'd spent a lot of time with over the past 2 years, and tell them that I had canceled the wedding out of nowhere because I was having cold feet and had used the guest list as an excuse. I found this out because the husband texted me privately, said he thought I should know what was being said. She was reshaping the narrative before I had a chance to tell my side. I sat with that for about 24 hours. Then I did something I want to be clear I did without any dramatic satisfaction in the moment. I was calm. I was methodical. And I think it was completely fair. I called every person who had been removed from the guest list, not to vent, not to build a team, just because those people, especially my groomsmen and the cousins with flights, deserved to hear directly from me what had happened and why the wedding was paused. I covered the flight change fees for both cousins personally, put it in writing over text so they had it. Then I sent one message to every mutual friend. Same message to each person. 3 paragraphs, factual, no emotional language. The date the list was changed. What was changed? The fact that it was done without my knowledge. That was it. No editorializing. The response was not in her favor. But here's the part that mattered most, the part that was the real consequence she had never seen coming. Her yoga instructor reached out to me through a mutual acquaintance. She wanted me to know that she had not asked to be added to the wedding guest list. My fiancée had told her she was being invited as a surprise. The instructor said she felt uncomfortable about the whole thing from the beginning and wanted to apologize for her role in it, even though she had played none whatsoever. The people she had cleared space for didn't even want the space. I forwarded that message to my fiancée without a single word attached. She called me 20 minutes later, and I'll be honest, her voice was different. The hardness was gone. She sounded tired. Why did you send me that? Because you should know, I said. What do you want from me right now? I want to know if any of this was ever actually about the wedding, I said, or if it was about seeing how far the adjustment would go. She didn't answer that, which was, again, an answer. The engagement ended 11 days after the tasting that wasn't, not in a blow-up. In my living room on a Sunday afternoon, she came over and we sat across from each other, and I asked her one question. If I had seen that text and just said, okay, whatever you think is best, would you have ever told me the truth about what you did? She thought about it for a long time. That was her answer. I asked for the ring back. It was a custom piece built around a stone from my grandmother's original setting, something my father had given me when I got engaged. She knew exactly what it meant. She gave it back without argument, and I think that was the most honest and decent thing she did through this whole situation. I took my 2 groomsmen out to a steak dinner and paid for everything. The cousins rebooked their travel as a regular visit instead. We had a weekend of grilling and football, and not one person said her name the entire time. The venue coordinator mailed me a handwritten card saying she was sorry about the circumstances and hoped I consider them for a future event. I appreciated that more than I expected to. I've been asked by several people if I regret how I handled it, specifically the part where I canceled everything without telling her first. And I've thought about that genuinely. Here's where I land. She made a decision that affected 41 people and submitted it under my name without my knowledge. I made a decision that affected the same event and submitted it under my own name, which was the only name with financial authority to do so. The difference is I owned it immediately when she confronted me. I didn't gaslight her. I didn't say she was being dramatic. I told her exactly what I'd done and exactly why. The guest list was never really the issue. It was just the moment I finally saw the full structure clearly. And when you're an engineer and you see that a load-bearing wall has been quietly compromised, you don't patch over it and hope it holds. You stop the project and reassess from the ground up. That's what I did.